Building a new home has its obstacles, and building a new home in St. Augustine during COVID has a lot more obstacles in it. We're about to go over how things have changed here in St. Augustine in the new construction home building process, and we're about to get after it right now. What's up, everybody? This is Thomas with Keller Williams, and if you're looking for everything you need to know about eating, working, sleeping, and new construction here in St. Augustine, then this is the video for you. So do me that favor, tap that subscribe button below, like the video, and if you have any additional questions about the new construction process here in St. Augustine, leave me a comment and I'll get right back to you. We have people reaching out all the time, and we'd love to be able to help them out. Whether that's a call, text, or email, we're here for you. And also, do yourself a favor and stay tuned towards the end of the video, and we're going to give you a couple more tips on what you need to do in your final walkthrough when you're going through at the end before closing. There are a couple of housekeeping items we need to go over. So there's a couple of things that you need to do before you sign that contract. Obviously, you need to determine your location and your price. There's going to be several different locations, new construction here in St. Augustine and St. Johns County, where you get a variety of different amenities. There's going to be a variety of different costs associated with that as well. So that just depends really what you as a consumer are looking for in your next home. So whether that's, you want the lap pool that you can swim in year round, or maybe you just want some basic amenities where someone mows your lawns, there are going to be different variables of prices and communities that fit that. A couple things to consider when you're looking at different locations here is how far that's going to be away from your work, how far that's going to be away from friends and family, how far is it going to be away from other amenities such as grocery stores, schools, hospitals, and how far is that going to be away from things that you love to do. Maybe you like to go hiking, maybe you like to go to the beach and surf. Just depends. Once you've determined your location, you're then going to determine your price. So if you're paying with cash, then you know how much cash you're willing to drop on a house here in St. Augustine. If you're getting pre-approved for a mortgage, you kind of have an idea of how much you're willing to pay, but you're not 100% certain. So the first thing you want to do is go ahead and get pre-approved, which will basically do a calculation of your debt, income, credit, and tell you how much you're going to be looking for in terms of purchase price of a home. Now, for our purposes, because we are talking about new construction here, it should be important to note that you can use whatever lender you'd like, but most new construction communities and builders, they have preferred lenders or they're their own mortgage company themselves. So why is that a benefit to you is because a lot of times they will buy down interest rates. They will also pay closing costs if you use their preferred lender. Almost a double dip, so to speak. But if it helps you and it helps them, then who's to complain? I've seen $10,000 in closing costs on a $300,000 home, which is pretty much all of the closing costs associated with that home. So that's important to a lot of people. I mean, $10,000 in your pocket today, that's a lot of money. And maybe that's important to you, maybe it's not. But whoever you work with, I recommend that you just trust and you like them. So as long as you trust and you like them, then stick with them. You probably have someone great. So you've determined your location, your price, and how you're paying for the home. So the next thing we need to do is find the lot and the floor plan you want to put on that specific lot. Now, when you go to a specific subdivision, they're going to have certain lots available for sale. Now, some lots are going to be backing up to other homes. Those are going to be on the lower end of lot value. And then some lots are going to be backing up to a water feature, and those are going to be on the higher end of value for lots. Now, you also have certain floor plans. So certain floor plans, typically by square footage, are going to be on the cheaper end, and the higher in the square footage is going to be on the higher end for the floor plan. So maybe you choose the cheapest lot with the largest floor plan, then that gives you a good combination of things to work with. Maybe you don't care about having a water feature in your backyard. So that's just depending on what you want personally. One thing to note that's really important in our market right now is everyone knows we've had COVID, and that's causing issues between supply chains and contractors getting jobs done on time. So we've had a myriad of issues and also costs as well. So builders are now reacting to that, and they've actually, at certain price points, they've cut out your decision of lot and floor plan. So they've already gone through that process. Typically, that's the 3-month permitting process where you decide all the structural options that go into the home. Most builders have moved to that where they make the decision on what floor plan is going on what this specific lot, so that they can cut out the time frame that we have until closing. So typically it's an 8 to 12 month time frame in closing. Now they want to cut out 3 months of that so that you're at a 5 to 9 month closing estimate time. The first thing that you're going to want to do when going over the contract is, of course, read the entire contract. Both the buyer and the agent need to read the entire contract and understand it. Now, if you need additional help, the agent can only really talk to you about his understanding of it, but if you really need a thorough understanding of the legal context of that contract, you should definitely hire a lawyer just to go over the main talking points with you. The reason for that is a lot of the new construction companies have had to add new clauses into their contracts. Now, not that there's anything that you might be able to do about this, but it's something to know before moving forward. Now, a lot of the new clauses are saying, because of the supply chain issues or because of rising costs in lumber, that if costs go up by X amount, then you will have to pay X amount of dollars more. So if costs go up by 10%, you will have to reflect that on your purchase price of $20,000 to $30,000 more. If it goes up 10%, then or 20%, let's say it goes up to $50,000 more. These are clauses that new construction builders are writing into the contracts now because of what happened last year. Lumber went up from, a piece of plywood went from $8 to $80 last year. So there had to be some reflection in purchase price somewhere along the line. If you aren't working with me as an agent, just make sure that your agent is verifying a couple different things. The first thing you want to make sure is that it is on the property appraiser site. Now, it is new construction, so it may not be available on there, but if it is, it's just something that you can reference to make sure that the address is correct. Now, you can also do that with the United States Postal Service at USPS.com. You can also verify the address is correct. And now, maybe this isn't a huge deal, but making sure everything is correct along the line ends up moving any roadblocks that you might have in the future. So you'd rather figure out if it's correct up front than a month before closing. You also want to have your agent check the FEMA flood maps. A quick Google search will pull up a FEMA main site where you can type in the address and figure out what flood zone that your property is in. So that's an important piece of information to know if you need flood insurance or not, and assessing your own personal risk. The other thing that your agent should check is the average appraisal for that new construction community. Because if appraisals aren't keeping up with what they're doing in the community and what they're selling for, you as a buyer could have to pay the difference. So we are seeing that somewhat in our market here where that is happening, because we've seen prices appreciate in 20% and necessarily appraisals aren't keeping up with that. So we've seen new construction communities appraise for less. So that means that you will have to come up with a difference. If you're buying a $300,000 house, it appraises at $270,000, then you could get that loan amount for $270,000, but that $30,000 overhead is something that you would be responsible for. Now, you want to also make sure that you or your agent, and they can ask the site rep while you're there, is how much money you're going to be putting down on the contract. That's typically a dollar amount or a percentage. I've seen it be a dollar amount, I've seen it be a percentage, either $10,000 or 5% of the purchase price. It just depends on the certain builder and also the certain features that you're putting into the home. If you put the most elaborate features, you may actually have to pay for a certain portion of those features up front, because the builder is going to order those things, and maybe you drop out of the contract, so the builder wants to make sure that you have some skin in the game as well. Before you sign the contract, you're going to go over the structural items that you want to have in your home. So maybe that is an electrical outlet that is in the center of the living room for you to plug in phones and tablets, or maybe that is a double sink in the guest bathroom. Whatever that is, they're going to need to know that so that they can put the structural requirements all on a piece of paper that they're going to send over for permitting, which is going to take about 3 months to get done. So they need to know all this stuff ahead of time, while in the meantime you can go to the design center and pick out all of your finishing details. Now, of course, everyone is different, but we have a couple structural recommendations that we like to tell everyone that we think adds value to every home. And one of those is going to be a water loop. So if you wanted to add a water softener to your home, it'd be very simple to do. Typically they put that into the garage. Also a gas hookup in the back of the home. So if you wanted to hook up an outdoor kitchen, that's something you could easily upgrade. You wouldn't have to run anything additionally to the backyard. Also, adding lights into your backyard is important. Can lights in the office, in the kitchen is a good way to go as well, just because they are modern looking and they look great. Double sinks in the guest bathroom, which I already said. A covered patio and screened enclosure, so important here in Florida because of all the bugs. Bay windows, and also that electrical outlet, which I mentioned in the middle of the living room floor. Now, these options need to be done before signing the contract because all of these structural items need to get sent over to permitting in St. Johns County so that they can get approved. Now, this takes 3 to 4 months, and a lot of the times now, especially under the $500,000 range, those items are already decided in advance. So the builder themselves are choosing the lot, the floor plan that's going on that lot, and all the structural and finishes that are going into those homes. Guys, thank you so much for watching this far. If you're feeling you got some value from this content, please do me that favor and tap that subscribe button below. Like the video. If you have any questions at this point about the process, go ahead and leave me a comment and I'll get right back to you. If you're looking for more information about where to live here in St. Augustine, I'll go ahead and plug a video right up here so you can click on that if you want to take a look at that. After you sign the contract, you still have a couple things you need to do. The first thing, of course, is put that deposit down so you can lock in your contract for your specific lot and model. The next thing you need to do is go ahead and schedule your design center appointment. Now, this is where the fun, where the home comes to life. This is where you're going to be able to choose your backsplash, your cabinets, your shower tile. All those little finishes that you get to choose are going to be at your design center meeting. So you'll probably schedule that at the meeting or within a week of signing that contract. The next thing that you have to do is you should also look to hire an inspector. I definitely recommend hiring an inspector going through the new construction process. If you're living here in St. Augustine, I definitely recommend it still, but even if you're relocating to this area and you're not able to check up on the house every week like you want to, then you definitely want to have a third party aside from me that is looking out for your best interest when they're building these homes. Now, that could cost anywhere between $1,200 and $5,000, and you need to think this is going to be over a period of 6 to 12 months depending on your build out time. So this is a long time for a person to work, so they're going to have to visit the site multiple times at different periods to make sure everything's on track. This is important because they're building homes left and right out here. There's several different builders out here and they're putting homes up like crazy. So things can go wrong, and you want to have someone in your corner making sure that nothing goes wrong on your specific home. The next thing, and this is a small thing, is going to be preparing your documents for your loan. So what I recommend is getting everything that the lender is asking for, put it onto a file on your computer, put it on your desktop so it's always accessible and right in front of your face, and anytime they need something, put it in that file so it's quick access and you just boop, 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 send it right over. Now, every builder is a little bit different, but most builders are going to communicate directly with you as a buyer. So make sure that your agent knows that, and make sure that anytime you're filled in on something, you fill in your agent as well. I know that seems a little backwards. Most builders will include the agent on a text message between us all, which can be great and can be a little annoying sometimes, depending on your preferences of how often you want to be reached out to. I know some builders that'll give you, a monthly checkup. Some will do a weekly. I have one text message thread where I get a weekly update on an empty lot, and I gotta tell you, it irks my soul, and it definitely hurts my buyers' feelings too, because they're like, when is this thing gonna start? They want to get going on it. Now, like I said, your design center appointment is probably going to be a month and a half after you sign the contract. They do that in this time, and they're getting everything prepared to send everything over to permitting, because permitting is going to take you about 3 months. Now, that's if they haven't already chosen your structural recommendations in the lot and the model. So there are some that have chosen the lot and the model, and you can go to design center. It just depends on the certain builder and who you're working with. A couple main points of the construction process are going to be the foundation. That's where you're going to have your slab poured and also your rough plumbing put in. The next part is going to be your roof and your framing. So they're going to frame your roof up, and they're also going to shingle it to make sure that nothing gets wet throughout the rest of the process. So the next step is then going to be your mechanical. So they're going to run your HVAC and your ductwork throughout your home. And then they're going to put the drywall onto the house and do some finishing touches on the plumbing. Now, I definitely recommend getting a pre and post drywall inspection at the minimum when building a new construction home. Now after that, they're going to go to your final walkthrough, where we have a couple of different tips when you're going through your final walkthrough on what to look for. Now these things are commonly missed in my experience when going through our final walkthrough. Now it's going to be minor things, but nevertheless, you want to check about the paint above the windows, behind the doors, and above the cabinets. Now if you just think about working when you're painting your house, those are places that you tend to forget. Sometimes you forget behind the door and that's stupid, I should have forgot to paint that. And you want to make sure that those little items are taken care of. You also want to make sure you check in your door jambs and your strike plates. You also want to look at any finished plumbing that you have on, make sure it's correct and the stuff that you ordered, but make sure it's functioning as well. And then also one little thing that gets mixed up all the time is going to be grout color. So maybe you chose a specific type of tile with a specific type of grout color, and who knows, maybe at a certain point they've run out. We've actually seen that where we're walking through a house and one grout color merges into another grout color. So that's something that you want to check, and that's a little tiny thing that gets overlooked all the time. After you've done your final walkthrough, you're going to put blue tape on pretty much everything you find a problem with, and you're going to tell the construction manager of the subdivision or whichever new construction company you're working with all of your little issues that you've had. Now, most builders want you to be satisfied with their products, so most things they're going to go and take care of. I actually was working with one customer who found a knot in one of her cabinets with a natural wood cabinet, which is something that happens. Certain knots are darker than others and more prominent. She told the builder she didn't like it, and the builder switched it out for her. Now that's not going to happen with everyone, but it's going to happen with some of them. So there are certain things worst thing you can do is ask, and maybe they'll take care of it. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you felt like you got a little bit of insight on the new construction process here in St. Augustine, do me that favor and tap that subscribe button below. Like the video, and if you have any questions about individual communities or more about the process here of building a home in St. Augustine, then reach out to me directly. I'd love to be able to help you out, whether that's a call, text, email. I'm here for you.